Hey guys, this week for Weapons Wednesday, we're going to do something a little bit different and take a look at some of the new survival gear that we just added to the KarateMart.com website. But before we begin, if you could just like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be awesome. So recently, a number of our viewers have mentioned that they wanted to see us start carrying more survival items on KarateMart.com, which is awesome because I love prepping, I love survival activities. I think that's such a good idea. So today, we're gonna look at some of the new survival items we just added. And just so you're aware, if you look into the description of this video, there's gonna be links to all of the items I show off. So let's go on to the first one. Okay. This is called the Modern Survival Shovel. And I know what you're thinking, hey Kyle, how does a shovel fit in that little tiny box? And that's a great question. So let's just take a look at this. Let's see what's actually in this box. Okay, this is pretty sweet. So look at this. We've got this little tiny survival shovel. So we're gonna have to take this apart and see what it consists of. All right, so the first part of it looks like it's kind of the blade of the shovel. And that's a pretty sweet looking blade. So we've got our shovel, and then it's got this little sawtooth blade on the side, which would be perfect for sawing, trees or twigs or whatever if we're surviving. And then on this side, we've got an actual axe blade. So you could actually chop with that, which is pretty nice. So let's just tighten this thing up and take a better look. So yeah, it's when you tighten it, it's actually super secure, so I like that. So we can see that it's got these little hex sockets on here if we needed to loosen like a bolt or something. So that could come in handy. I could see that being kind of cool. And then we also have a measuring tape on the side, which it looks like it's in centimeters. So I don't know what you'd be really measuring that's that small, but I could see it possibly coming in handy out there in the woods. And then it looks like we've got a little bottle opener there, so that's kind of neat. So, I mean, that's a few little extra things that this shovel has that are kind of cool, but there's so much more to this. So let's just look at the rest. All right, so in this little bag, we've got two other parts that kind of come out. And it looks like if we wanted to, we could just hook this all together and make kind of one giant shovel. So let's just do that really quick. Okay, yeah, that's actually a pretty nice, secure, big shovel. I like that. That's actually a really nice size if you needed a shovel. And it's solid too. This isn't like some flimsy shovel. I actually like that. And again, if we were to just change up the blade, we could turn that into a hoe, and I think that would be like really nice when you're actually like digging into the ground out there when you're camping. So that's pretty cool. But let's just take this apart and see what else we've got here. So on the end of this, we've got a glass breaker. So that's kind of neat if we ever need to break glass when you're outside out in the woods. I don't know why that would be necessary, but I don't know, kind of a neat thing to have. And then when I first looked at this, I saw that it had this little hex on there, and I was like, okay, well, this didn't come with a hex wrench, so how do I unscrew that? And then I realized you unscrew this side of it. So let's just unscrew that. And it's all very secure. It's not like super easy to unscrew. You can see that it's got this like waterproof washer on there that just makes it so it's really secure. So when we take that off, we've got our little flint fire starter on there. So you could light up some tinder with that. So that's pretty cool. And then let's see, if we unscrewed that, we've got a little whistle. So that's kind of neat. I mean, let's just try it out, see how loud it is. If you have earphones on, I don't know how loud this is gonna be. Let's just try it. Wow. I actually, when I lived in Wisconsin, and I think I was 15 years old, I actually got lost in the woods. It was on the Mississippi River between Iowa and Wisconsin, and I actually had to use my whistle to gather help. So I really see how that is an important thing if you're out in the middle of the woods. I think that this is actually a really important feature. So not only a flint fire starter, but a whistle. Very cool. Let's just hook that back on. And then inside this handle, we also have this screwdriver. So that's what this little hex thing's for. We put the screwdriver in there, and now we've got a flathead screwdriver right there. Don't know if you can see that on camera. Flathead screwdriver. Flip that over, and then we've got the Phillips head on the other side. So, I mean, I could see that coming in handy. I don't know really what you'd need a screwdriver for when you're camping, but you know, sometimes just things like that come up, so you just never know. And then also, if we unscrew this piece right here, then we've got this other little knife head that kind of comes out, and we'll screw that right into here. And then we've got a knife if we want a knife, but we can hook it to the handle and actually make a spear out of it if we wanted to spear with it. And it's got a little saw back on there if we wanted to saw things with it. We could cut with it. It's also got a little bottle opener over there, which is kind of nice. Pretty awesome. Yeah, so I think that's about it for this. I actually really like this. I think it's so cool. It's just got so many little capabilities to it. So such a cool little survival tool. I wish I would have had one of these when I was a kid. I think it really would have come in handy. So very cool little item. Let's move on to something else. All right, Amanda, hand me the next item. Thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna preface this by saying this is honestly probably the most gimmicky item we have on KarateMart.com, but it's still gonna be fun to show off. So, all right, this is the hidden knife slingshot. And we've actually carried it for quite a while. It's never been one of my favorite items, but we're gonna start carrying a lot more slingshots. And I figured since I hadn't shown off this item before, let's just show it off today. So, all right, so let's just take a look at kind of what it looks like in the case at first. And the case isn't bad. It's kind of this brown vinyl. Looks kind of cool, but we don't really care about the case. Let's look at the actual knife. All right, so if we look at the knife, it's entirely made out of stainless steel. The handle's stainless steel, the blade's stainless steel. And oh, see, that's the first thing I don't like about it. It's not a spring-assisted knife, so you have to kind of flip your wrist a little bit to get it to come out. So that kind of bothers me in the first place, but I don't know, the blade's kind of cool. I mean, it's got this tanto blade, which is actually really sharp, so I kind of like that. That's neat. And then the handle feels really solid. It actually feels like a pretty good solid knife once you get it out. But that's not why we're looking at this knife. Let's look at the gimmicky aspect of it. So I'm just gonna close up the blade, and then all we do is it's got this little glass breaker on the end, but if we hit this button right here, the little glass breaker pops out. So we take off the glass breaker, and then let's just take this off of the case. And we've got this little slingshot that we add in where the glass breaker was. So I just got to push the button and it locks into place. And that actually makes a pretty decent slingshot. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad, and it's comfortable in my hands. So, I mean, I've actually done a lot of stuff with slingshots in my lifetime. Growing up in Wisconsin, you know, it's just kind of part of your youth. This, to me, isn't the best slingshot. I worry that the bands aren't good enough. They're probably gonna break over time. But for a survival tool that you kind of just keep in your backpack or on your belt, I mean, it's kind of cool. I could see it coming in handy. But let's go ahead and put this away and move on to something else. All right, Amanda, hand me the next item. All right, awesome. So Amanda just handed me 2 items made entirely out of paracord. I know what you're saying. You're asking yourself, hey Kyle, what am I going to do with all of that paracord? And that's a great question. So when you're out camping or if you're in survival mode, paracord is going to come in handy for so many purposes. I mean, it can be used to build a shelter, it can be used to hang your food up so wild animals don't get it, it could be used to build traps, build a clothesline. There's just so many uses to it. And then there's one thing that a lot of people don't know about it, is if you take a piece of paracord and we actually chop off the end of it, we've got these little strands that come out. So let's just open this up, And look at that. We've got all these little strands that could be used for sewing or for fishing. I mean, there's so many uses for paracord, it's just unbelievable. So having paracord in survival mode is a must-have, but let's just look at these items. So first off, we've got this guy, and this is called the Paracord Survival Belt. And really all it is a belt made out of 330-pound black paracord. So that's pretty awesome. Having this much paracord, this is actually 115 feet of paracord if we unravel it. So all you do is just take out this little strand up here, and then you can unravel the whole thing to make 115 feet of paracord. So let's just take a closer look at this. First off, it's a little bit small. So this is the thing I don't like about it. I have about a 36-inch waist, and it barely comes around me, barely. Like, I don't think that would go around my pants very well at all. Like, it'd be so snug. So I would only recommend this for someone who had a 32-inch waist or less. So that's kind of a negative about it. But it's got this rust-proof belt buckle, which is kind of nice. And overall, I mean, it feels like it's made pretty well. So if you've got a 32-inch waist or less, I think it's an awesome product. Other than that, probably not going to do you much good. But let's go on to the other paracord item she gave me. So this is the Hidden Knife Survival Bracelet. Let's just take a closer look at it. So this is kind of neat. It's all paracord, but then if we hit these buttons on the side, out comes a little blade. So it's a small blade. This is only 1.25 inch stainless steel blade, but I could actually still see that being very useful for survival type things, and then also for self-defense if you needed it. But let's go ahead and put this on my wrist. So I actually tried to put this on my wrist the other day. It's very difficult. I would suggest having another person help you with it. So I'm just gonna grab Amanda and have her help me put it on my wrist.
Hey guys.
See, even with another person, it's not overly easy. All right, so we got that on my wrist, and the first thing I noticed is that it's fairly tight. I've got average size wrists, so if you've got really beefy wrists, I don't think that's gonna fit you. This is gonna fit people with average size wrists or small wrists. But it's fairly comfortable. I mean, I kind of like that, and I like the fact that you could walk around the woods and just kind of forget you have it there, but if you ever needed the paracords for survival, or if you needed the knife, just hit that button, out comes the blade, and then you've got it handy. So, I mean, overall a pretty cool thing, but if you got large wrists, don't even try to buy something like this. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that away because there's really not much else to tell you about it. Let's go on to the next item. All right, Amanda, hand me the next item. Okay, so I absolutely love this item. I think it's so cool. I got a chance to look at it last night, and it's one of my favorite items that we have on KarateMart.com. So cool. This is the Personal Alarm Survival Bracelet. And if we just take a closer look, first off, we can see that it's got paracord on both sides of the bracelet. So if we needed to unravel that paracord and use it for survival, that actually gives you 1 meter of 250-pound paracord on each side. So that's really awesome in itself. Now, next we've got this compass on the top, and I was looking at that last night, and it's actually really accurate. You can tell because in Phoenix we have this grid system, so you know your north, south, east, and west really well, and you can see that this is pointing perfectly accurately at the exact direction. So I think that's awesome because a lot of the time when you get cheap compasses, they don't really work very well, but this one really works. And then next, we've got on here a thermometer, and that's in Fahrenheit, and that's actually really accurate too. I can tell just by looking at it that it's about 70 degrees in here right now. So pretty awesome. I mean, I don't really know. Yeah, I could see that coming in handy when you're out in survival situations. I could see you wanting to know what the temperature is to make sure that you're staying warm enough. So that's a cool thing, but let's just take this off. Okay, so when we take that off, first, we've got this flint rod here, and we also have this little blade here that we can use to actually light up tinder if we wanted. So you just scrape it like this, and then that would create a spark. yeah, I don't know if you could see that on camera, but it definitely just sparked, which is kind of cool. So we could light a fire that way. And then right here, it's got a whistle. So make sure if you have earphones on, this might be loud. Here we go. That was actually really loud. So that's pretty cool. It's got a little survival whistle on it. And then this is one of the coolest features of this. So we've got two buttons on the side of this bracelet. The first one, if we hold this top button for 3 seconds, we've got a really nice bright LED light, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's actually really bright. And if we click it again, now the lights are flashing in an SOS signal. So that could be very handy if you're out in survival mode in the woods. So I love that. We'll just hold it down for 3 more seconds and the LED lights go off. But now we also have this 130 decibel personal alarm, which is really loud. So if you've got headphones on, just take them off so it doesn't hurt your ears. But I'm gonna hold this for 3 seconds. And that is so loud, but so cool. One of my favorite things about this survival bracelet is how comfortable it is on my wrist. It's a little difficult to get on just like the other one, but I'm gonna have Amanda help me get that on really quick. And it's actually totally comfortable on my wrist. I love that. And what's great is if you have really big wrists, it's actually adjustable, so it'll fit anyone. I think this is one of the coolest little survival tools that you could possibly have. I love it. I can't think of anything else to tell you about it, but this is something I would totally use if I was going camping or hunting. I could see this coming in so handy. But let's go ahead and put this away and grab something else. All right, hand me the next item. Okay, so we've got some books. And I know what you're thinking, Kyle, that's kind of a boring product to show me on video. I get it, but I'm still gonna show it to you. So we've got 3 different survival books here, and we've got a whole bunch on crowdymart.com, but these ones are kind of cool. So I was looking at this one first off. It's called Foraging for Wild Foods. And you know, when I saw this, I was thinking there's a movie that was made about 15 years ago and directed by Sean Penn called Into the Wild. And it's actually a movie that I really, really love. It's about this young man who decides that he doesn't want anything to do with society anymore or capitalism, and he goes and decides to live off the land, which is something that I think a lot of us have thought about doing. And it's just such an interesting movie to watch. But this book itself kind of goes into all of the different plants that you could survive on, what to eat, what you wouldn't want to eat, which you know, is so important if you're actually looking for food out in the wild. So I thought this book was like perfect. This is something that I would buy. I would actually read myself if I was going to go try to survive in the wild. And then these other books, we've got this one. This is the Army Manual for Rigging, which I found to be really interesting because it shows, you know, how to do different knots, how to build traps, how to rig different things. I just thought this was such an interesting book. I mean, like, look at that. It's such useful information if you're going to go out and survive. So that's awesome. And then there's the Army Survival Manual, which has all kinds of information about different plants out in the wild, different animals out there, how to build different types of traps, how to build different shelters. I mean, all of these manuals are so helpful if you were going to go out and try to survive by yourself. So books are your best friend, but we're not going to spend any more time on that. Let's put that away and go on to our last item. All right, Amanda, hand me the last item. Okay, so this is the Black Tactical Hammer Axe. And this thing is pretty sweet. I was looking at it. There's a lot of things I really like about it. First off, it's got that fiber-filled nylon handle that I really like. In the video we did last week, we had some kama that were made with that. And I just love this kind of material because it's very difficult to break. This is gonna be very well made. You can see that the tang of the blade actually goes that far into the handle. So that's gonna be a good axe that's gonna hold up for you for a while. The blade on it It's actually really sharp. That's awesome. I like that. And then it's got kind of this claw at the bottom, which is super sharp. I like that. We've got these hex sockets here, which you could use. I mean, it's got the whole different sizes up here, which is really nice. That could be useful for loosening or tightening things. And then we've got this little hammer on the butt of the axe, which I could see that coming in so handy if you had to set up a tent or something like that. So this would be an axe that I think I would use if I was going camping or something. The blade is made out of a stainless steel, which has a black finish to it, which looks really nice. And the overall length is about 16.75 inches with a weight of 1 pound 8 ounces. There's not much else to really tell you about this. I mean, it's an axe with a hammer on the end. So pretty awesome, perfect for survival, perfect for camping. But if you have any questions on this item or any of the other survival items I showed off in this video, definitely leave them in the comments below. Make sure you check out KarateMart.com because we're adding all sorts of different survival items to the website right now. And like this video, subscribe to our channel. But until next week, we'll see you Weapons Wednesday.